Alrighty. The Portsmouth Zoning Board of Review is now in session. Thank you to everyone for your patience from last week. Just as a recap, on the agenda, under old business, the petition of Eric Offenberg, representing 1127 RE Investment, that's been continued to the June 15th meeting. And also the last item under new business, number 9, the AP Enterprise LLC for the properties located at 0 Walnut. That's the old landfill in Island Park, where the applicant seeking a special use permit to create an outdoor recreational facility. That's also been continued to the June 15th meeting. So I don't know if anyone was here for either one of those, but if you were, they're not going to be heard tonight. So those will be in June. Yes. Want to do that? Okay, sure. All right. So for the first item, the Eric Offenberg, can I have a motion to continue that to our regular meeting of June 15th?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and also could I have a motion to continue the petition of AP Enterprise LLC to our regularly scheduled meeting of June 15th?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, first item on the agenda is petition by Benjamin Chin for property located at 21 Mountain View Road, being tax assessors map 1, lot 3, applicant seeking a special use permit under Article 7 and dimensional variance to construct a front porch on a substandard lot of record.
Hi, my name is Rich Von Wagner.
Rich, full name and address. You swear to tell the truth? Full name and address, please, for.
Rich Von Wagner, B as in boy, ONVEGNA.
And you're the contractor, correct?
Yeah, contractor, yeah. The one with-
And Aaron, we do have an email from the owner, correct? Thank you.
So I'm here to represent Ben Chin. He's looking to add a small front porch to his home on 21 Mountain View. And he's requesting to go over by 3% of what's allowed. He's basically going out 6 feet from the current home and staying within the same width of the home.
Okay, so he's looking for a 2-foot 4-inch side yard to the east setback,
Okay.
but that doesn't encroach any more than it does now.
No,
Okay, and then the west side, that also said this is the current side yard setback again. So looking for 1'7", but that's exactly what the house does already.
exactly.
So above and beyond that, he's looking for an additional 3.36% lot coverage variance, correct?
Mhm.
Which would put him 6.9% over, so his variance request is for 6.9%. Okay,
He does have a couple of situations currently where the front steps are out of code, they're not safe. And the storm door opens up into the, right above the steps, so it makes it very difficult. He's trying to get his elderly parents in there. So he's trying to accommodate them. So he figured, you know what, let me just give him a front porch
right,
and, make it safe.
okay. Because this does require a special use permit, I'm gonna run through the A through J criteria and just simple answer. So, if approved, would the desired use be detrimental to the surrounding area?
No,
Would it be compatible with neighboring land uses?
yes,
Would create a nuisance or a hazard in the neighborhood?
no,
Adequate protections afforded to surrounding properties by the use of open space and planting?
yes,
Safe vehicular access and adequate parking are provided?
yes,
Control of noise, smoke, odors, lighting, and any other objectionable features provided?
yes.
Solar rights of abutters are provided for.
Mhm.
And proposal special use will be in conformance with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan zoning ordinance.
Yes,
Okay. And the health, safety, and welfare of the community are protected.
yes.
Okay. I've been down to view the property myself. I've looked at the drawings. I really don't.
I do have a picture here, if that'll help. That's pretty much what it looks like.
Yeah, we have those, I think, in our packet.
And this is the steps. You can see how.
Yeah, you could see those, right? Hmm.
And you can also observe that the storm door does go out. You know, typically you would have a landing, you'd have ample room to get in there.
I have no questions for the applicant.
No, sir.
Eric? See none, I just have to ask for butters or interested parties and then we'll vote.
Right.
Okay, any butters or interested parties to this? Do we have anybody online, Aaron? Thank you. Okay, so Benjamin Chin is before the board for tax assessors map 1 lot 3, seeking a special use permit under Article 7, seeking a 2-foot 4-inch to the east side setback relief and a 1-foot 7-inch side yard to the west setback relief, and also a 6.9% lot coverage variance, of which 3.36 is what's actually being proposed additionally. Both current setback requests currently what exists now. So they're not planning on encroaching any more than the house already does. So Mr. Furell, take a vote on that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the east side yard setback and the west side yard setback because the home isn't encroaching any further on those setbacks than it currently is. I also vote to approve the lot coverage increase. This lot is 3,900 square feet. It's zoned as R10. And the total size of the property or the total size of the structure is just over 1,000 feet. So it's a small lot with an even smaller home on it, having a 6-foot deep deck. The width of the home is a common accessory use, and to deny this request would amount to more than a mere inconvenience.
And special use permit?
And I also vote to approve the special use permit as it complies with Article 7, the A through J criteria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Reposa?
I also vote to approve both special use variances in the dimensional variances in the special use variance for reasons stated by Mr. Furell.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
I also vote to approve for the reasons previously stated.
Thank you. Chairman also votes to approve for reasons previously stated by Mr. Furell as well. I mean, the house is down there. If you look to the left and the right of that house, this house is small in comparison. All of those have requested at least this type of variance be constructed. So you're all set.
All right, thank you so much for your
Have a
time.
good night.
Appreciate it.
Evening.
Okay, next item on the agenda is petition by Brian Earhart, 1134 West Main Road. Seeking a special use permit under Article 7. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance from the side setback requirement of 30 feet. 5 feet proposed, and the rear setback requirement of 50 feet, 30 proposed. Applicant seeking to build a 36 by 24 garage to the property. Mr. Dario?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Richard Daddario. I have a law office in Newport at 1 Courthouse Square. And I'm here tonight representing Brian G. Earhart, who's the owner of the property at Assessors Plat 44 Lot 18, 1134 Main Road. If the board will remember, we were here for a dimensional variance some time ago for the construction of the house itself. At that time, Mr. Earhart wasn't sure whether he wanted to construct a garage. It's since been designed and planned, and he would like to go forward with it. And in order to do so, he needs a special use permit since it's a modification of a non-conforming structure, and also some dimensional variances. I have here tonight Mr. David Casey, who I'd like sworn in. He's the contractor builder.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth.
Yes,
Full name and address for Teresa, please.
David Casey, C-A-S-E-Y,
Mr.
One-
Casey, I'm sorry, go ahead.
105 Hagstrom Road, Woodstock, Connecticut.
Okay, Mr. Casey, you have been the contractor and construction foreman, et cetera, for the construction of the house at 1134 Main Road owned by Mr. Earhart, is that correct?
Yes,
And at this time, Mr. Earhart has planned, and their plans have been submitted, by an architect to construct a garage on the same site. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when we were here for the construction of the home, it was noted that the septic system was in a particular place on the property. Where is it
It's
located?
forward of the house. It's in the front of the house.
In the front of the house.
Between the main, west main and the front of the house.
And the house, there's no room behind the house to put a garage, is that
No,
correct?
no.
And no other place on the property that
No.
you could construct a
Because
garage.
of the septic system, the design, the layout of the lot,
And so the garage that's designed is going to require a dimensional variance from the south side, which is, I believe, to the right of the house, is that correct?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
and the setback required is 30 feet, is that right? By the
5
zoning
feet.
ordinance?
We need 5.
We need, yeah, but we're proposing to place the house 5 feet from the sideline.
Yes.
But the requirement is 30 feet, so we're looking for a variance of 25 feet, is that correct?
Yes.
And with respect to the east side, which is the rear of the property, how far will the back of the garage be from to the side, to the back line?
30 feet.
30 feet, and I think the setback required is 50 feet. This is an industrial
Mhm.
light zone, so it's a little bit unusual for a residence, but this residence
Not in
was.
this town.
It's true. So that being the case, we need dimensional variances from both the south and the east side of the property. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that there's no other place that the garage could be placed on this property?
No, there's no other location. Small lot.
And is it your opinion that this desired use and the construction of the garage will not be detrimental to the surrounding area?
Absolutely not.
In fact, it'll enhance the area because it's going to be a nice building. Is that correct?
It's gonna look just like the house. Pretty much.
Well,
Everybody's seen the house.
And is it your opinion that it'll be compatible with the neighboring land uses that are, some of them are residential right there?
Yes.
It's not going to create any nuisance or hazards in the neighborhood. Is that right?
No.
And the garage will provide adequate parking for two or three vehicles?
2 vehicles.
2 vehicles,
Right. Then there's gonna be a utility room.
and it'll have safe vehicular access?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that the proposed use and construction of the garage will be in conformance with the purposes and intent of the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance of the town?
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to add? I know that you had the plans with you in the largest format. Plans were submitted with the application,
I have a
but we have a
site,
larger.
I have a site plan. I have the plans for the garage itself. If anybody wants to see.
Yeah, I'm good with what we have.
Okay. These are just full size.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, not
Mr.
at all, just-
Casey? And if the board has any questions, of Mr. Casey.
Mr. Casey, how long have you been a contractor?
42 years,
How many two-car garages have you built?
many.
What's the average width of a two-car garage?
Usually 24 is a 2-car.
Okay. What's being proposed is a two-car garage. Why is it 36 feet wide?
Because the other bay is gonna be for trash cans, for utility and for access to the upstairs, a stairway to the upstairs.
But to access the upstairs.
Right.
Which is what?
It's gonna be a finished space.
It's gonna be an apartment.
Yes.
The question is this a garage with an apartment over the top or an apartment with a garage underneath? Because what's being requested is a two-car garage. And where I'm a little perplexed is the fact that I understand regardless of what is done, you're gonna need a variance. However, as we all know, the ordinance is the least relief necessary. When you look at what's proposed at 36 feet, and you take 12 off and you make it 24, then that side yard variance, albeit does not meet light industrial standards, it does meet our 10, 20, and 30, and actually almost our 40 standards for a side yard setback, which is a little more along the lines of the least relief necessary.
That may be true, Mr. Chairman, but is there a reason why Mr. Earhart is seeking to put some living quarters above the garage.
He wants to use the living quarters for his drivers, he has a driver in the summer when he's here, and he wants that to free for his driver, because there's nowhere else to get these people a residence for the summer.
What I'm trying to figure out is what, besides least relief necessary, what the hardship is. And I'm not seeing a hardship
I don't
here.
think we have to show a hardship necessarily, but an accessory dwelling like this is certainly something that the town should encourage, because there's nowhere, if he has somebody here that works for him, there's nowhere for this person to live in Portsmouth. It's very difficult to find a place. So he would be providing another residence that would actually enhance the availability of housing in the area. And that's why the state,
Couldn't fit
The state has a lot.
couldn't fit a studio apartment above a 24 by 24 garage.
No, because I can't get to it with the stair. I can't get stairway inside.
Could eliminate a stall.
I'd have to lose
Right,
another.
could eliminate a store,
Then I'd have one car garage.
Or bring it up from the rear,
I would,
bring it up from the rear.
so the building isn't wider.
he doesn't want somebody walking in the garage to get to the apartment. He wants to have an entrance. He wants a utility area with trash cans. He's big
The
on,
thing is that this is new construction. This
Right.
whole thing is new construction. It's a blank slate. Okay? And I personally get very hard pressed when people have a blank slate and want to come in unless, it's a substandard lot of record. Now, again, I understand it's light industrial, so you need certain variances, et cetera, to do what you do. You can never meet that. However, one would think you would conform as much to a residential as you can in order to do what you want to do. Sometimes lots can't accommodate everything we want to do on. 'Em. And that's just the way it is.
that may be true, Mr. Chairman, but he wants to do something that it's gonna be done right. He's spending a good amount of money on the house already. And in order, he doesn't want to do something that's gonna be small, that's not gonna work out.
I
To do
understand that,
tiny
but
little-
that's a personal choice. It was a personal choice to buy that land. It was a personal choice to build the house he built. It wasn't a house that already existed. We renovated with an old garage we tore down, and now we want to kind of do that. That was a personal choice. No one said to the owner applicant, you have to buy this land, you have to build this house.
That's true, but I think the plans meet the criteria that are set forth in the ordinance. It's certainly gonna be not detrimental to the area, it's gonna enhance it, and the nicer it is, the better the neighborhood is. It's also gonna.
I just question the least relief necessary. And in this particular case, again, I'm just saying, and it's a board decision, but I'm just saying that I would think that even though one does require a variance, okay, that you would try to meet at least a residential variance. Because if this was a residential lot, okay, I could almost assure you wouldn't get the variance because it's pretty clear cut and dry. But
Well, the only abutter to the rear is Coxcom, as you know.
Yep.
And, that's not a residential use. He's not gonna be interfering with anything that they do. The house to the right of the house is run down house. It's on the market right now. My client is talking to that owner about acquiring some of that property if possible.
right,
That may happen. And I think, I think he meets the criteria of the ordinance. I understand what you're saying, that you can make it small, you can make anything smaller, he could have made the house smaller.
to suit his
But-
needs.
yeah.
Right, absolutely.
But he has a family, and he does have the need to have another unit on the property in order to accommodate some of his
So
employees.
to Repose's point, eliminate one of the stalls.
That makes it difficult because of the where's he gonna put it if he has more than one car or if he has other vehicles, and there's always, everyone knows there's always, extra stuff.
There's many others in this town,
A lot
that
of
people don't have garages.
There's really no reason to turn it down though.
Okay. Questions? Okay,
I just feel it could be modified so that have
to a two-car, garage with the apartment still being up, above it, it'd be slightly smaller. I mean, I've got a two-car garage, I got my garbage cans in there and it's basically 24 feet wide.
Problem is getting the staircase up there.
That-
To get the staircase up there to meet code, we have to have what, roughly 42 inches to get up there. So that's half of the bay again. Get up there
Staircase going to back,
in the back, meaning
the back of the building, the back of the building.
outside.
Well,
Or
maybe outside.
inside, make the building deeper.
Then it'd be closer.
Then we're gonna be encroaching back the other way. deeper.
Or inside the garage, but to the rear of the garage.
Then you can't get a car in there. If you take 24 feet, and you knock off 4 feet for a staircase. He doesn't want somebody walking through the garage to get to the stair. He wants an entrance so that it's
So
safe.
really,
It's much safer. It's safer than walking in a garage with
it
cars.
really sounds to me like it's, and again, the petition is for a garage, but it's really looking like it's an apartment with a garage underneath it, is what we're here for. Because everything I hear is, why can't you build a 24 by 24? I asked you what a standard garage was. You told me you've been in business 40 years and it's 24 by 24. You asked for a two-car garage. That's what this is. But now all of a sudden the conversation has turned into, well, I can't get an apartment up there. Well, I thought the petition was for a garage.
Well, that's the name of the building. It is.
Well-
Effectively.
Well, then I could call it an apartment with a garage under it. Yeah. Right.
For that matter.
Yeah.
No question, we wouldn't deny that.
Okay.
But I think accessory dwelling should be encouraged, especially.
A garage is an acceptable accessory use. Absolutely. It is.
I think the state legislature just passed an ordinance last year, a statute last year that prohibits a town from requiring that only familial members or somebody like that live in that accessory.
We're not saying that.
No, I know that, but I mean, I'm just using that as a illustrative of.
Yeah,
the-
no,
The
we can't tell people who they can and can't have in
Right.
their apartments
and
by
I
any
think
means.
the state's trying to
Right.
encourage that. I think the town should.
You want to say something?
Yeah, this is a good thing, and I understand what he's trying to do, and I.
Do it right. He wants- he doesn't want
I,
to-
I understand, and I can, understand the view and his perspective. The only thing I would say is I think there's a little bit more space. You could probably shrink down and maybe cut the stall in half, and, you've got an island, you've got a pretty spacious living area, and I think he is doing it right, but I'm saying to kind of need maybe an ordinance and, you guys are presenting a case for it, we're reading an ordinance and kind of decipher, but I mean, you've got almost 3 full stalls, you can have a staircase, I mean, you've got an island, kind of consolidate the kitchen if it's more or less an
But
efficient.
we can squash the apartment up a little bit. That's not a problem. The problem is access to it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Decent, like I said, he doesn't want somebody walking through a garage at night with cars. in
No,
it.
but-
We could we could cut the garage to probably 30 feet, 32
No,
feet,
I understand, no, I understand that point too. I'm just suggesting, he said, okay. We've got, another stall here. We have the stairs. We can move it over 5 feet or 8 feet, right? Split the difference.
Yeah.
We'll get 8 feet on that property line. Is that something, that might work? You might not have a big closet or as utility space, but
Yeah, we can shrink the apartment's not a problem to shrink it as long as we can.
keep the garage the same size, still have your access, but maybe try to consolidate the living space and that, if that's,
We could do that.
I'm
That
not
would-
trying to,
That would probably work.
I'd probably rather have a bigger one too, but I'm just trying to
Yeah,
mitigate.
I mean, we just went, basically, when he laid it out, we just did like a 3-car garage, is 36 feet. That's pretty standard.
Yeah,
So, Mr. Dario, based on this recent discussion, there seems to be some wiggle room. So, as I'm sure you're quite aware, that if a petition is denied, you can't come back for a year unless there's substantial change. Or it's your prerogative to request a continuance and possibly modify your petition. But that's entirely your choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what we would do to modify it, but if Mr. Casey thinks we can work something out, perhaps it makes some sense tonight to ask for a continuance to the next available date.
To me, it sounded.
well, I think
as if
he's got a
Mr.
purpose, right? And if we kind of, he's in kind of a unique zone. So if we say, we're trying to work through and not just totally let everything go through because it sets a
Right.
precedent. so,
Exactly.
and we've been there in the past and.
Yeah.
So I think it's a reasonable request in certain aspects, but I think there's a few ways to maybe meet halfway, you know, within that design of maybe that entryway on the first. floor.
We would, so what do we want to do? We want to pull it away from the property line,
Pull it away from the property line.
get it to 10 feet? Would that be a reasonable?
I think if you
Yeah.
know, because it's pretty spacious.
On the south
Like we
side.
Said we can consolidate, it might be not as roomy. You know, we kind of configured the upstairs. I think that would be a reasonable request, you know, being that the zoning and,
Mhm.
you know. I mean, I can't say I would probably do the same thing, but you know.
Right.
Here we all are.
Mr. Chairman, can I
Looks
make a
nice. It's
suggestion?
fine, and I
Absolutely.
get it.
The septic system. We can move it a little bit. We can move it over a little bit, but
But, you know, maybe, maybe.
Hang on a second. Eric, go ahead.
Mr. Godario, if you do decide to do a continuance, I would suggest that you modify the proposed use of premises. Because when I read this, I read a garage with a bedroom. What we have is a garage we sort of have a two-house, a two-family home, a two-family residence here. And so I was kind of taken aback when I saw a bedroom and then in the drawings, I saw a full-up apartment.
Would it be considered an in-law apartment, which is granted matter of right?
I think we're just talking nomenclature.
Well, bedroom and apartment are two different things.
Yeah.
But I think the living space is. I think that's sort of the minimum. If you want to, if you.
Well-
Do that, that's kind of the minimum.
Well-
That he could have without. having
Yes and no. I
a
mean,
Tiny little.
what if we
studio apartment.
went
usually
10?
one room.
What if we went 10 feet off that property line and left the building the same size? We'll just pull it towards the house. I think I can squeeze it in, or I can make it smaller if I can't.
10 feet.
But if we could go 10 feet instead of 5, would that change the outcome here?
I would say that I think there's room all the way around to at least try to get as close to an R30, which is a 20-foot, R30, R40, 20-foot side yard setback. I think there's room there and I think you can do it.
We could have a meet 20.
I can't.
We're gonna need a
I think you can make it pretty close though.
Not with a, I have
Is
to go with a
your-
really small garage.
But 5 feet is just. Yeah. So again, the ball's in your court as to what you want to do. We can either continue and vote, or you can.
I get the impression that what has some concerns.
Right. I mean, we're always trying to work with people. That's why I throw those suggestions out there. I don't want to just say, we're gonna vote and that's it. Let's have a nice day, you know? So, and I know, you don't want to come back, but
You don't have a lot of options here, that's the problem.
yeah, but I still think there are some options. Yeah, you know, to just say, okay, well, we made it this by this because that's kind of what. You know, I'm now hearing we could probably move it a little bit. Probably shrink it a little bit. You know, at minimum, you can probably get at least 15 feet from that property line.
Not with this garage. We have to do a different garage.
You may have to,
I don't have room for, I can't,
Same
I
with that.
don't have 10 feet, the septic system and all the tank and all that, I don't have 10 feet.
well,
I just don't have, it's just not there.
So could we ask for a continuance into the June?
Absolutely. let me throw one more thing out there. Is there any way to turn the garage?
No.
None.
Oh,
Can't make the turn. No, no.
access.
Good.
Yeah, it's a little.
I'll throw that out there.
That I-
Difficult lot.
Oh, I know. Don't want to be there in the winter.
That's why I-
Okay.
I couldn't turn it.
Probably won't be.
The applicants requested a continuance of this petition. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
All right, motion been made in second to continue this petition of Brian Airhart to our regular scheduled meeting of June 15th. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay. You know what the board's kind of looking
I
for.
understand that. I'm gonna be out of the country on the 15th, so we'll have to. Make arrangements, to have somebody else cover it, I guess.
Okay. All right. Whatever, I mean, yeah, okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank
for your
you.
Time.
thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Right along. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a petition by JPS Construction Design, applicant and owner Breakwater Property Group.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Jamie Stebbin from owner of 1046, 1048, 1050 East Main Road.
Jamie, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth. Full name and address.
Jamie Stebbin, 1046, 1048, 1050 East Main Road.
Okay,
And I just have one handout to pass out to you guys real quick before I get started.
which one is
Just
it?
uh,
Is it the landscaping proposal? We
Oh,
have
okay,
it.
yeah.
We did, yep, we already got it. Thank you. Okay, I know you've been to planning. I know you've been to design review.
And we got favorable votes from both of those parties.
Right.
Basically, we're looking to construct a 42 by 80 single-story building for mainly storage for existing businesses on the property. We're located in a C1 district. And the variances that I'm looking for are for lot coverage due to the calculation Portsmouth on commercial properties. They include the asphalt pavement, which is pushing us over the lot coverage. And also it's a special use permit for the use of the building. I think you guys have all these attachments, but the existing lot coverage that's there, including the new proposed building, if not including the asphalt, is only 12.6% lot coverage. And then when you include the paving, including the new paving, it pushes us up to 46.8% lot coverage. You have the plans there. The idea for the building is to look very much like the other three buildings on the property, more of a residential feel look to them. They'll be sided with vinyl cedar impression shingle, asphalt roof. We tried to keep the height of the building down. We're meeting all the side and front rear setbacks. So there's no setback issues. I can answer any questions that you guys have.
And proposed area of that is when you go up, because I was up there today, when you go up the driveway, it's all the way up to the left.
Yeah, so currently there's a big area that has parking curbs but it was never paved and it's like a really compacted processed gravel. And soon as you get up to where that lot opens up, that's where the proposed building's going. The overall site is about 1.7 acres.
Okay, how many units are gonna be in this?
It's designed right now as 2 units, but we've designed it so that if I want to put up a partition wall or something to separate out a space, I can do that. There's 4 overhead garage doors.
Here's the concern with that, at least I have, you guys chip in whenever you want, is on something like this, to me, it's difficult because if I were to ask you what businesses will be in there, so I get an idea of what they do.
Mhm.
So which impacts noise, smoke, odors, objectionable features, you can tell me today that there's 2. But down the road, you decide to subdivide it into 4. Well, then it's out of our control because it's already kind of come and gone. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I don't think there's anything saying I can't have multiple overhead garage doors, but I have multiple businesses and I can tell you what my intent for the building is. There's an interior design company that occupies 2 of the buildings on the property right now. And I need some kind of logistical storage and staging space for when orders come in. And before a client may be ready for them. And
Totally
before they get
understand,
shipped
but,
out to
you
the.
know, all of a sudden down the road, you decide you're gonna rent out one of the stall to a small engine repair shop. That the guy works 6 to 6 at night and he's there at 6:30 in the morning, starting up tractors and stuff like that with the neighborhood right next door.
Yeah, I assume at that point I would have to
It's
come back for
possible.
a special use permit and signage.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, again, as I read the application,
Yeah.
it's asking for light carpentry and storage.
Right.
So that's what I would expect to be in there.
Yeah, so the,
Someone couldn't put in a distillery because it's saying like carpenter.
yeah,
So-
the,
Well.
The use
yeah,
for-
that's now, but a year down the road from now, to the applicant's point, if it's being built to potentially divide in the future.
Okay.
And he may find, well, I don't need that much storage.
Okay.
Why don't I lease the space out?
yeah, so I didn't really finish the rest of the intent, but so I'm currently renting a tradesman center style space for my JPS construction design business.
Mhm.
I absolutely don't want to be paying that rent any longer, and I can use all of that space and then some. And the reason why we put the light carpentry on there is because in the future, if I want to be able to do some work there. My full mill workshop is in Warren right now, but the idea is that maybe at some point on another property I own, not a rental. If I want to move it into this space that I could. That's why we put that on the application.
So primary use of this is gonna be storage, correct?
Yes,
That's the
yep.
primary purpose of
The front bay for the design house interior company that's there on site, and the back 3 bays for JPS construction design.
Then I have another question.
Go ahead.
Um, the, the lot coverage sounds excessive. Our zoning ordinances limit the amount of lot coverage with not, when you're using non-permeable surfaces. So that tells me what the town wants to do is we don't want to have a lot of asphalt. You know, that can cause runoff issues. It has, it impedes refilling groundwater, all of those things. Would it be possible to reduce your lot coverage by using a permeable surface instead of just asphalt?
Yeah, so that came up in the last meeting. I actually prefer to do that. I'd prefer to have a crushed bluestone in that whole back area. And when we met with the fire department, they preferred to have asphalt there or something that's really solid. But I mean, even the processed gravel that there's currently is very drivable.
Jimmy, let me ask you this, though. That's where I get confused sometimes with the fire department. So I remember many, many, many years ago, and you know, technology's changed in the past 10, 15, 20 years. When Atria was built, they had to provide full fire access around that building, as we all know. Grow grass on, but it will support the weight of a fire truck.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I'm kind of,
We have two sort of competing
yeah,
regulations. We have the non-permeable surface
right.
restriction. And then there's another place in the zoning ordinance where it says support a 70,000-pound fire truck. So I would assume if the surface can support that, then the fire department, they may not like it, but you meet the zoning ordinance. I'm
Yeah,
just worried
I
about.
mean, I'm 100% flexible on that, and I 100% see the conflict. It would be cheaper for me to put in some kind of other base other than asphalt, more than likely.
Yeah, I
And,
didn't know.
with the small likelihood that the fire truck comes, there's still plenty of pavement. And in fact, we created on the site plan a little hammerhead turnaround for them because they don't want to back up very far, which I understand their concern there. So they back up into that turnaround and then pull out forward onto East Main Road.
A question for the assistant town planner. Aaron, what's your take on that?
The fire department has recently been cracking down on access to lots.
Right.
So we've been we've had meetings with them, and they really want to see the pavement
Really?
for access, yeah.
Okay.
We did discuss another possible solution for that, which sounded pretty good to me. At the back of the property, it meets Joanne
Right.
Drive or Road or
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's a dead end. And there's somebody at some point, either the previous owner or the neighborhood put rocks there, so there'd be no pass throughs. So one of their thoughts was we could put 2 pilings in with a chain with like a lockbox that only the fire department has a key to. And they could pull that down to pull out in that one situation, and I would be just as happy with that too.
Yeah, but that doesn't take care of the fact that just takes care of the problem with stuff going through, but doesn't take care of the fact that if they have to come on the property, there's no asphalt.
No, it is because at that point they're driving from asphalt. We'd have to do a little patch of asphalt,
Right.
maybe 10 feet long, where my asphalt stops and the road begins. And we talked about that as an option too. So
Because one of the recommendations from, I think, the planning board was just that, was the gate in the back.
we brought that to their attention, yeah,
Okay.
during the plan review. I mean, back to the whole lot coverage and just of the neighboring buildings too, it's very common to be much higher than 46%. That's in the packet as well, but if you look at some of the surrounding properties, 95%, 48, 67. It's kind of an odd code to begin with to include
So-
asphalt as
so,
lot
yeah,
coverage.
Here's fire lane definition under Portsmouth zoning code. It said fire lanes will be constructed of a hard all-weather surface adequately designed to support at least 75,000 pounds and capable of being maintained in all weather conditions. Grid type systems and compacted gravel are not permitted. Oh, okay. Okay. So.
Because I think at that point, they're concerned about like in the winter, if it's getting
Right,
plowed.
it
or-
does get plowed.
I think that the non-permeable sub requirement or thing in the zoning board is a relatively recent, addition to the zoning rules, like, 2013 or 2012 or something like that. So I can certainly understand there were a lot
Yes.
of buildings went up before that are, like you said, 90%.
Oh, yeah. I think it's two separate conversations too, though. I think in most towns, when you're looking at lot coverage, you're looking at building and structure lot coverage, and then site water runoff is a separate conversation where you start looking at permeability of the site. So I
In
don't,
our case, though, it looked like they put
they merged them.
both together and they just say, lot coverage is building and non-permeable.
Right.
surface. They-
Which-
With that old.
That's-
drill, Get up there with the drill. Oh,
I'm not sure, actually. I just was aware of that tonight, so. You have I would think you could have permeable pavers too, but that would cost a fortune.
fire department.
Beautiful.
Go gravel.
Right.
So I don't know what other option you have.
Lighting. I've seen two cuts of the potential lighting. So one is over the storage unit garage doors is the
Gooseneck.
gooseneck wall lanterns, fine. But the next ones are the decorative lighting. Where are those going to be placed on the building?
I believe there's just two sconces at the entrance facing into my property. There's a on the front elevation, I guess that would be the north elevation.
Okay,
They should be drawn in on the elevations. I'm just searching for that page now. Actually, it's just one over the little gable over that double door on the
yeah, I
front.
see that. Okay, and that's facing your property.
Yep.
So there will really be, other than emergency lighting on the rear doors, there'll be no lighting facing neighboring properties, correct?
Correct.
Go ahead.
What dimensional variance is being requested?
Lot coverage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're within all setbacks.
Yeah. Bear with me, I'm just taking some notes down. Okay, so, let's see. So design review. Came up with a few things. I just want to run through them with you to make sure that you
Same
and
page.
they are in agreement. Talked about the gooseneck lighting. Architectural expression, landscaping, planting along property lines is still being ironed out, but we do have a landscaping plan.
Yeah, we just,
Signage, there's not gonna be any signage on the exterior of the building.
no, we're not changing signage. If there's any signage, there would be additional signage of like design house on the building.
Right. Other than that, there wasn't much. Let's see, the planning board. Let's see.
I think
So
the,
this is what they highly recommended, the incorporation of proposed Knox box along with the gate for the advice of the fire department. Only open to fire through that throughway. And you're good with that?
if that's what everyone does, I mean, I guess that's for the town to decide, but I'm fine with that.
Okay, and that it was adhering to the sheets wall aesthetic designs as per the planning board, so, I mean, the design review. And that was about all the.
Yeah, and design review just requested that the building actually gets built aesthetically the way it's been
The way
drawn
it's-
to match the aesthetic of 1046.
So. I think the biggest impact, correct me if I'm wrong, of this is gonna be. One house on Joanne Avenue. Really. If you come down Joanne where it abuts the property.
Yeah,
one
which,
house Right there, it's on the property.
yeah, which that neighbor I've actually spoke to, and I believe he submitted an email of approval. Brian Timberlake.
Okay, when we ask for abutters or interested parties, we'll have them read it, okay.
And yeah, I would say it's closest to the property that's on East Main Road, and I've spoke to that
Right.
person as well. And they didn't have a issue with it.
So before I run through the special use criteria. Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? I'm gonna run through the special use criteria. Property, yeah. Okay. So special use permit, so. If this were allowed, would it be detrimental to the surrounding area?
No,
Would it be compatible with neighboring land use?
yes,
Would it create a nuisance or hazard in the neighborhood?
no,
Adequate protection is afforded to the surrounding property by the use of open space and planting.
Yep.
Safe vehicular access and adequate parking.
Yep.
Control of noise, smoke, odors, lighting, and any other objectionable features provided.
Yep.
All rights of abutters are provided for.
Yep.
Proposed special use will be in conformance with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance enforcement.
yes,
And the health, safety, and welfare of the community are protected.
yes.
It's not in the town center, so we don't have to worry about Jay. Okay. One last. Bear with me, let me go back to the landscaping plan. Just go. Okay. So to me, it looks like what's being proposed also is there's screening around property.
Yeah, it's required to have I believe, a minimum of 6-foot border. That was the original kind of rough sketch that was provided by the landscape architect
Right.
prior to our design review meeting, and that's when they asked for additional information, species, different types of plantings. And I explained to them that I'm now in like phase 2 of re-landscaping the entire property. We've taken down dead trees and we've done really nice plantings around the other 3 buildings, so it'd be very similar to what would be around this building. There's already quite a bit of screening existing as
Yes,
well.
I noticed that.
I'd be planting in front of it.
Any other questions for the applicant? No. Okay. All right, Jamie, I just have to ask for butters or interested parties. Aaron, we have one.
Subject property variance JPS Construction, to whom it may concern. I, David Timberlake, property owner of 44 Joanne Avenue, Portsmouth, Rhode Island, who is a abutter of JPS Construction, which seeks a property variance for property located at 1046, 1048, and 1050 East Main Road, Portsmouth, Rhode Island. I have reviewed the construction plans with Jamie Stebbins, president of JPS Construction and Design, and I have no objection to his plan to add an additional structure to his property. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact me. David Timberlake, 44 Joanne Avenue.
Anything else, Aaron? Do we have any abutters or interested parties to this? Well,
He answered most of them.
hang on, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth.
Swear to tell the truth.
Full name and address.
Matthew Correa, 36 Clearview Ave.
Okay, Mr. Correa.
You answered most of my questions. It was mostly about water runoff. We saw that little turnaround area and that heads straight towards my property. We already have water issues on the backside of my property as it is, and my leaching field's right there. I had to come for a variance for how close that ended up.
Right.
One of the concerns was lighting, and he
Right.
spoke of it. There's already a light there that shines directly into my bedroom as it is.
Okay.
For the most part, it's not left on, so it doesn't bother me, but at times it is annoying.
Right.
But what I really wanted to say is, Dawn lives on Joanne, and she couldn't be here today. She asked you guys for a continuance last
Right.
week. I just wanted her to be heard. That was
Right,
it.
right.
I came to
We
make
did-
sure
We
that-
did approach the applicant and ask, but they did want to continue. So
Right.
I'm surprised she wasn't at the planning board meeting. Now, where is she located?
She is right behind the Aprovites, right there on Joanne, abutting the backside of that
So,
property.
Mr. Timberlake, if you're on their property, looking at Joanne would be on the left, she would be on the right.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Got it.
But my concern is water runoff with
What's
the
your
massive
problem?
amount of
You're to the-
asphalt that's
you're
being
to the
put there.
north.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct. So where that little turnaround comes, that's,
right.
if it's pitched
It should be
towards my
pitched
house, it's
actually-
gonna let all that water
Yeah, but
run
no,
right
it
into
should
my
be pitched
backyard.
more towards drainage if they're putting paved parking lot in, it's gonna have to be. Correct? Yeah. Yeah, it will have to be.
Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yeah, so I actually brought that up to a couple different town members a lot, like we all have water issues there. The problem is most of it's actually flowing through Joanne and down
Right.
through my property and onto East Main Road. And I said, the likelihood of getting the town out here to do much about it is probably gonna be pretty difficult, but I have, it's like a little river streaming through my parking lot essentially. So I certainly will want to put something in, whether it's a contingent on this or not, but I plan on putting on some kind of Coltech system to collect at least the downspouts from this new building. So
Right.
they're going into some kind of system below because I don't want any more water on my property either. But the little turnaround we're creating, I think they are referring to for the fire truck is
Yeah.
very minimal and that will pitch towards the center of the property.
Property.
And as far as the lighting on the existing buildings, I'm happy to turn those down or turn them off or something. They were there when I bought the property.
Question from the solicitor. Kevin, amongst some other conditions we've got, can we put a condition on this that if the use is to change on this building, that the applicant or whoever would have to come back to the board? In other words, right now it's being proposed as a storage area and maybe some light carpentry. But again, to my point earlier, all of a sudden, a year down the road, somebody wants to put small engine repair, or start repairing cars back there. totally different than what's being proposed.
Something like that, I would really-
A different use than,
Right.
than what's being proposed. I mean, the
Right.
application is the application.
Right.
I mean, you can't personalize it into the individual
No.
occupant or owner, but I mean, if it's a different use than what's proposed, they have to come back.
They would have to come back. Okay.
But I mean, if it's proof of storage,
Yeah, no, we're just concerned that, everybody's good intentions are this, and then you never know what happens down the road. But-
Yeah.
So that would then be if that were to happen, it would be in violation of the original granted special use permit.
they're getting a special use permit for certain uses, which is
Right.
storage, and if they want to change that, they need to come back with a modification.
Okay, all right, thanks. Yes, Aaron.
And to speak to that, they would, at any engine repair like that, they would have to have a special use permit in addition to that.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. Let's see. So, first of all, I have some conditions, I'd like to, incorporate. The comments from the, design review, lighting, they've recommended any lighting has to be dark sky lighting on motion detectors. Full cutoff, less than 6 foot candles, average distribution, and not mounted higher than 10 foot. Average grade. I will add to that, the proposed lighting, other than the wall sconces are pointed 90 degrees downward and do not shine on abutting properties. So that would be condition 1. Condition 2, that the property lines along the west side of the property be planted with no less than 6 feet in height arborvitaes, no more than 3 feet apart to screen that entire area against Joanne Avenue. Also, third condition would be that there be a locked gate installed at the property line where it meets Joanne Avenue per the recommendations of the planning board and fire department. That's locked with a Knox box with a key for the fire department. So they could go from Joanne Avenue onto the property or vice versa if need be. So those are 3 conditions I'm proposing.
I have one more condition.
Sure.
I think, the only thing I'd say is that if use changes other than what is specified on the application.
Well, that's what we just talked about.
Oh, we don't need that.
We don't need to have that, okay? So could I have a motion?
I just have one quick question on that
Yes.
second condition. You said 6 foot arborvitae's, 3 feet,
Less than 6 feet in height.
no less than 6 feet in height,
Right.
3 feet apart.
Yep.
For what length?
The entire, where it butts Joanne, the properties on Joanna Avenue, left and right.
The design review board was actually specified something kind of opposite of that with a mix.
Yeah. We're not the design review.
So it
board.
doesn't matter. Okay.
Design review board has a tendency, and love them dearly, to look at things aesthetically.
Right.
And we look for things to shield the budding properties.
Yeah, we suggested arborvitae. That's the only reason why
Right,
I'm
yeah.
asking, and it got turned,
Yeah.
they said they want a mix of different types, species of plants,
Right.
so.
What's that?
So it didn't look like a
Right.
artificial fence.
So for a portion of that property line currently, there's already very tall arborvitae's there. I assume we're
gonna
not
say.
planting in front of those more
Hey,
arborvitae's. Yeah.
I said no less than 6 feet. Okay, so could I have a motion to accept those conditions?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now we get to the. good
All
part.
set.
Yep,
Thank you for your time.
I just got to vote, so hang on. We got to vote yet. Haven't voted yet.
Come back next month.
Okay, JPS Construction Design, before the board for tax assessors map 58, lot 2. They're seeking a special use permit. And also a 21.8% lot coverage variance, which does seem excessive. However, it's kind of mandated by the fire department as to the paved area, which the applicant would actually not want to do other than that. Other than that, they would not, and they meet all other criteria. Applicants given testimony that they do meet the special use criteria. So, Mr. Furell.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to approve the special use permit. Mr. Stebbins walked through the A through J criteria and confirmed that they are being met. I also vote to approve the dimensional variance, although it is rather large, the configuration of the lot, where the building has to go and the requirements placed on us by the fire department leave us no other option. And to deny this petition would amount to more than a mere inconvenience.
Thank you. Mr. Reposa.
Glad you went after the other guy. I also vote to approve both the special use and the dimensional variance for reasons stated by Mr. Furell.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan.
I also vote to approve the eventual variance and the special use permits for the reasons previously stated by Mrs. Farrell.
Thank you. The chairman also votes to approve. The applicant has given testimony that they do meet all the special use criteria. We do understand why they need the lot coverage variance, so you've been approved, and I'd say you must be a good neighbor, because usually when there's bad neighbors, you got a lot of people here, so.
Yeah, and I've talked to a few and
Yeah.
the ones I haven't, I'd be happy to answer any questions for them.
Thank you for doing that. It makes our job a little bit easier too.
All right, thank you
All right,
guys.
thanks. Have a good night. All right, next item on the agenda is petition by John and Denise Weiser of Harrison Township, Michigan. I think it's Michigan. Zero Park Avenue, tax assessors map 21 lot 55. It's a vacant lot seeking a dimensional variance. And also the article for substandard lot of record criteria. Mr. Chappelle.
Good evening, everyone. Court Chappelle, law offices in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. We have with us tonight, John and Denise Weishaupt. One small correction. Technically, it's not a vacant lot. There's a garage on it. So it's technically a pre-existing non-conforming because it is an accessory structure on a lot that doesn't have a primary structure. But we're not enlarging that. We're taking it away. But that is important because as I go through the variances, you'll note first that the lot is irregularly shaped. It's a square with a smaller rectangle off it. So we have to fit the house in the square piece because the rectangle is only 30 feet wide. The lot's 4,800 square feet. I think it important that the current garage is only 3.2 feet off of the north line. And 9.5 feet off the back line. So although we're putting this house and we still need variances, in every direction, it is further away than the existing garage. This garage, not to get on the first petition, but this home is smaller than the first garage. It is 896 square feet, 32 by 28. It is a small, relatively modest home to meet the needs of the parties. The real needs of the parties is they are their own abutters across the street and their garage is dilapidated and they use this lot to park. Because of the elevation and flood requests, the house, if they can't build a new structure on it, to be elevated. And if the garage goes up, this garage will be their parking and shared parking. Because they're knocking the garage down, they're not grandfathered to the smaller garage. So they have to put an apartment above it. So when they came to me, believe it or not, it's easier to put a house on the lot across the street, less variances than put a garage on the lot across the street. Because the garage, this lot is taxed as an individual lot and it had passed water table and perk. So first we'll look at the front yard setback. No front yard setback is required. It's 12.2 feet off of the private access way. The reason that none is required is that you're allowed to take your averages of your adjacents. I've put those on your plan and you see that we have increased that average. On the rear, again, rear being the opposite of the front, even though our address is 0 Park Ave. Currently, that building is 9.5 feet away. We managed to keep it 10. But if you look at the rectangle, you'll see 10. If you look at my explanation, and in an R10 zone, that requires a 10-foot rear yard setback. But you have to look at the deck. If you look at the deck, you now have to look at the jet in the rear yard and now go opposite in the long rectangle that's only 30 feet away that deck at its closest point is 5.2 feet. That's why technically it's a 13.8 foot rear yard variance as to the corner of the deck. And it's only a 10 foot rear yard variance to the house itself. Everyone see that? As to the sideline, it's again, further from the lot line that it was, but now requires, and even though it went from 3.2 to 4 feet, an R10 is a 10 foot sideline. So it would require the 6 foot side yard variance. We also had the opportunity to talk to some neighbors. I believe there's at least one letter in your file from Chuck Levesque, who writes that he expresses his support for the above application. He's reviewed the materials and feels the relief requested is reasonable and the minimum amount necessary to enjoy the property. The most affected neighbor on the 4 foot side is Mr. Frank Monroe, that you know from the design review committee. He has also got a letter that I don't believe you have, but I will read you and submit, dated 5/17/23, as an abutter to Mr. and Mrs. Weishaupt on Park Avenue. I'm the managing general partner of 556 Park Avenue Holdings. I've reviewed the plans for 0 Park Ave, map 2155, and am in favor and endorse the variances to build the new structure.
Go on to that as exhibit.
So although we're certainly here to answer questions, I believe this house, when you look at small lots, we've made the house the size that we have approved in the past, keeping them under. We've also, for lot coverage, the house itself would require no lot coverage. We didn't come in and get a house built to the max and then come in and say, hey, give me a 40-foot deck. But because we're trying to get the deck to that side, and because we're trying to make the deck pillars wide enough to put a single car under the deck as well, to get those pillars far enough apart required a 10-foot deck. That 10 by 12-foot deck on the water side put us 1% over lot coverage. So in the end of the day, we're asking for 1% lot coverage. We're asking to be further away on the side, but that still requires a 6-foot side yard variance. We're asking to be further away in the back of the main building, but that's a 10-foot variance. And the deck is the 13.8 foot, 5.2, sorry. 14.8 foot rear yard variance to that restricted lot, that restricted rectangle.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chappelle, just to make sure that I have the setbacks correct, there's a rear yard setback of 14.8 feet.
Which is really just that side deck piece.
Correct.
But I think if you get that, you get, I don't think you have to say it twice, you have to say the maximum. But I think it's a rear 14.8.
And then there's a side yard on the south setback of 6 feet.
6 feet, yes.
And then there's another rear yard setback of 9.5 feet.
Yes. A 1% lot coverage. And then like any lot in Prudence, as you can see, this is on a right of way. There's 3 houses on this right of way. Because that right of way is not paved, it requires the Article 3B citation to draw a building permit on a road that does not front on a paved way.
That's paved way, a public way.
Public way.
Public way.
Yeah, because Blueville Cove, well, Blueville Way, Blueville Cove, it's not a public way, correct?
No,
And
there's only 3 houses on.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chappelle, my package doesn't have any elevation drawing, so I don't know what the building is going to look like.
I think we have to go up one. It is not only is it not height, it's not 2.5 stories. It is literally the 1 story with the roof. You know how
1 story above the floodplain,
1 story above the floodplain, not
1.5.
Not 1.5
or
above the
2 stories
floodplain.
above
There is
floodplain.
the living space is the square footage of the 896 feet. There is no second store living space. And unlike the first petition, one of the reasons it was 2832 is because we didn't have room to put the staircase outside without getting a lot more of a variance. The 28 by 32 allows the stairway from the slab, if you will, under it to go up into it. And it's wide, 4 feet wide, 10, 12 feet long. That's why that garage is 28 by 32 instead of 28 by 26, 4 or whatever.
Mr. Chappelle, the only other thing you need to address is under Article excuse me, Article 6, Section A through E criteria.
Could you swear my client and I'll have him?
Absolutely.
Please.
Raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth. Full name and address for Terry, please.
39815 South Point Avenue, Harrison Township, Michigan.
But you also own the lot across the street and that's your summer home, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been spending summers there?
We've had the property for 8 years and spent summers there for 60.
When you have a dimensional variance request on a lot that's a substandard lot of record, meaning it's less than 10,000 square feet, there's some extra criteria, so I'm going to ask you some questions. The first is that when we build this, is there going to be adequate space for fire protection? We're still going to come down the same road, we're not being any closer, correct? Okay. The second is there's adequate light between the buildings and air between the buildings.
Yes,
In fact, there's more between the buildings than there was. Is that right? The third is that you're not creating lot coverage or setbacks that are more out of tune with the ordinance than the adjacent lots. Your adjacent lots, which we've shown on those, are actually larger percentages of the lot and closer to the lot lines than yours will be. Is that right? Okay. And finally, you won't impose a substantial detriment to the neighbors. In fact, your most direct neighbors, you are on one side, Mr. Monroe that endorses you on the other, the bar that Mr. Dewey just bought. And he gave us permission to say he was okay with it. Right? So you don't believe any of your neighbors have any concerns?
no.
That's all I have.
Anybody have any questions of the applicant himself? Eric, no, anything? Anything else, Mr. Spell?
No, thank you.
Aaron, do we have anything else in the files or at all? No, no, okay. That being said, John Denise Weishaupt before this board for taxes map 21 lot 55. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there an abutter back there?
No, we haven't had.
Oh, I didn't? I thought I did. Any abutters or interested parties? See none. John Denise Weishaupt, am I pronouncing that correctly? Thank you. Tax assessors map 21 lot 55, seeking a dimensional variance of 14.8 feet to the east rear of their property, a 1% lot coverage variance, and also a variance to construct a house on a not fronting a public way. Applicants given testimony that they have met the criteria under Article 6A through E regarding allowing adequate space for fire protection, adequate light and air between buildings, altering the character of the neighbor, creating lot coverage and setbacks less than the average. It would impose substantial detriment to the immediate neighbors. They've testified to all of that criteria. So, Mr. Furell?
Mr. Knott, can I add one thing?
Sure.
In your summary, I think you left out the 6-foot side yard. We did the 14.8 back, the 1% lot coverage,
Yeah.
the frontage on a public way, and
Right.
the 6% side yard on that pre-existing side that was 3.2. That was the
Oh, it's
towards Park Avenue.
on mine. Okay, what was it, 3.2?
It was 3.2. We moved the building to 4. It's 10 feet for a side yard, so that's a 6-foot side yard.
Yeah, that's missing on my application. On all of ours.
It's, well,
6 foot to the south, correct?
6 to the 7.
on mine, I have, yes, we call that the south. And
4 foot to the property line, setback required is 10.
Right.
Variance request is 6, ours is blank, yours
You're
is
right.
2.
I have the 10 and the 4, the 6 is blank. You are correct.
So,
It's-
Mr.
it-
Chappelle,
It is in my explanation of
Right.
benefits that were filed.
okay, Mr. Furell,
Chairman, I vote to approve the dimensional variance for a substandard lot of record. The applicant walked through the A through E criteria. And they were all confirmed. I also vote to approve the rear yard setback of 14.8 feet. The side yard to the south setback of 6 feet. the rear yard setback of 9.5 feet. The applicant has done a commendable job in fitting a home on this irregularly shaped lot. And is improving the neighborhood as a consequence. I also vote to approve the 1% lot coverage variance. This is a 4,800 square foot lot. And we're putting about 1,000 square feet of new building on it, which is small. So it's great that we still have, relatively speaking, a lot of open space on there. And I also vote to approve the variance for not being on a public way. This building would have no access to a public way in any event. And you certainly have the right to use your property to its full enjoyment. To deny this application with these dimensional variances would amount to more than a mere inconvenience. So I approve them.
Thank you. Mr. Reposa.
I also vote to approve all the dimensional variances, special use, lot coverage variance, and the variance for not being on a public way. The
Thanks.
reason stated by Mr.
Very much. Mr. Donovan?
I would also vote to approve all the variances also. I went to the property and I think it's gonna be an improvement over what is existing there right now. So I vote to approve.
Thank you. Chairman also votes to approve for reasons previously stated by Mr. Furell. I commend you on trying to get something on that lot and trying to perform as best as you possibly could. Yeah, so your petition's been granted. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chappelle.
Thanks to everyone. Thank you very much.
Here, one more and then take a break, sir. Eric, here, one more and take a break. Okay. And the rest are antennas anyways. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a petition by Marco Di Martino, representing Anna D's Cafe for property located at 954 East Main Road, being tax assessors map 57 lot 4B, seeking a special use permit to hold a farmer's market on the property during the summer months.
Good evening.
Di Martino, swear to tell the truth,
I do.
full name and address for.
Marco DiMartino at 192 Moakley Drive here in Portsmouth, representing NADs at 954 East Main Road. When I initially applied, I said special use agricultural. Mr. Lindo helped me out a little bit. He said to look at chapter 405, article 5, section 1. Maybe presented the zoning proposed uses not so listed, maybe presented. So I think it's more of that versus an agricultural special permit. Looking to do a little something community. We have a pretty large area. I sent some pictures to you guys. I think Darren has some also online. I had some aerial photos taken, so you have a little better view, although I hope you guys have been there before and so you know, if you're a little familiar with what it looks like. So we have pretty good amount of parking. We have pretty good amount of space back there. It's a huge grassy area. I was hoping to do something on our slower nights like Mondays or Wednesdays. Farmers market. I know there's some areas in Newport, also Bristol, I do farmers markets Wednesdays and Saturdays. So that's the reason I was thinking to do Monday to stay out of competition. I don't want to step on any toes. I think we have plenty of space back there. I have all the sizes exactly, but I was thinking of between 6 and 9 people. I was hoping that everyone would be from Aquidneck Island, both farms or artisans or, you know, whatever you would find at a general's farmers market. I spoke with some people in the area and I got some connections with people I've done. There was someone that did a farmer's market at St. Barnabas. And I got her information and I've reached out to her. We haven't spoken yet, but she's done it before in Portsmouth and heard that a lot of people are going to that one too. So that's pretty exciting. But my family's been in Portsmouth for 18 years. I've been here as an adult for 7 years. And I just think it'd be something good in the area. I don't know if there's any questions or I don't know if I'm missing to say something.
Bear with us. No, you do have, I guess, the biggest thing that comes to mind is, of course, traffic.
Sure.
And what are your proposed hours of operation? I know
Yeah.
you're talking weeknight.
Yeah, so I imagine it would probably be Monday, but it might be Wednesday. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out when people are open and free to come. The cafe hours are 7 to 4 every day. Come summer, Our ice cream is open 12 to 7 every day. We're actually closed Tuesday, excuse me. The cafe is closed Tuesday. So they would be within our current functioning hours. The cafe slows down after 1 o'clock. That's kind of like after the lunch. That's the reason I chose 2 to 6 was that's kind of the quietest time. After 6 o'clock is when kind of ice cream starts up. People are done with dinner. So that's a little busier. And because that's our slowest time, I figured that'd be the best time to bring it in.
Plus 2 to 6 or around probably 2 to 4:35 is probably the highest traffic impact there as well.
On East Main Road,
On East Main
Sure.
Road.
we do have a brand new light right in front of our property. Right on the end of Glen Road, maybe a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years,
all the way
but
to Glen Road, which
Yeah.
brings Traffic and then.
so that would
if
kind of
they ever-
stop.
If they ever finish the one up by the Glen, there would be another break in traffic.
Yep. And even between them, there's also that
Then you
Union
got
has one
Union
too,
Street
yeah.
as well. Right, so you
Yeah.
have some breaks in traffic there.
You can certainly make right turns coming out of your property. pretty
Yes,
easily.
fairly easy, yeah.
Right.
Stop.
Yep.
So everything around you is pretty much commercial as well.
Yeah, so we are currently listed as residential, but I know that in the new comprehensive community plan, we're set to be switched to commercial to be more in line with the people around us.
Shaking his head, yep.
I got the good vocabulary from him.
So you're talking 2 to 6, how many days a week?
Just 1 day a week,
Just 1 day?
and I imagine it would be in the summer months, when the weather's nicer. I wouldn't be bringing any food trucks or anything like that in because we have the cafe there.
Right,
It would just be produce. I don't know if there's any people that make clothing or like beeswax. I know some bee farmers in the area, stuff like that.
Yeah. What about things like, well, there's really no, what about music, things like that?
I have no speakers out there. I don't have any electricity. I'm not planning on putting any kinds. We do have a girl that works at the cafe. She does acoustic. She does part of a 2-person acoustic band. I didn't ask her, but
Right.
the only thing music we would have would be just some acoustic or live, nothing with electric speakers.
You're really looking for 1 day a week, possibly 2.
The only way I would be 2 is definitely 1 day. I don't think we should have two
Okay.
farmers markets a week.
Right.
But I was interested, we have a huge back wall on the back of the building. I was hoping if on those nights that we had the farmer's market, if people are still there after the farmer's market having ice cream or something, we could project a movie on that screen. That would be the same day. I'm not quite sure if it's under this still proposed use. And if it has to be separate, I would definitely bring it up separate, but it would be the same night as kind of a continuation of that fest of being outside. I'm sorry? Yeah, I think it would be really nice, you know, we have a huge area, right now there's 9 picnic tables back there, we have them spread out very far apart. There is a tree in the center of the property that's about 45 feet away from the back of the building. I don't know if you can see them in the pictures, so I imagine the projector would be there and people would be in front of that, so I'm not asking for like a 200-person like event to like it'd just be there playing.
Yes.
Or this could be approved, could we approve it for this year and then require a reapproval next year so we can assess whether there are?
You could approve it. Absolutely.
To allow us to see if there are any issues that come up.
That's kind of how the Ragged Island kind of morphed
They seem to
with
come in every
one
night.
event. And then it kind of morphed into additional events, and then it kind of morphed into seasonal type thing.
And honestly, if it's a yearly thing, I think actually if
Well,
I
I-
came
I-
back and talked to you about the positives and minuses, we might have something better next year. You know, if we worked on it.
Not to, make you come back or anything, but I think in a case like this where it's, it'd be one thing if it was something like, say, St. Barnabas parking lot, big parking lot, stoplight right there, it's great.
Yeah.
And even where you are with the farmer's market, try the movie thing is a good idea, but how's that gonna work? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Could be too much where all of a sudden it creates a traffic impact on East Main Road because too many people are trying to get in
Yep.
because everybody wants to go. You know, you just don't know.
Our parking lots are already full at lunchtime anyway, so. As it costs.
No, I
Is there-
guess.
You have a picture of the full backyard?
One way we could do that is we could place a condition where you would have to post somebody directing traffic on the nights of the farmer's market or the night of the movie night. You know what I mean? Where there's somebody there where they are full, you can just wave them on. Yes, that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron.
Show you. The big vertical one, this is, yeah, you
don't do like that.
So if you see that tree there.
Yeah, we see it.
So if I would be projecting a movie,
Yeah,
it would be people just in front of there. They wouldn't be able to see behind there
Right.
anyway. So I can't imagine that there's.
Yeah.
Can
you zoom out?
I think that's a big picture. There's other pictures.
no, I wanted
there.
to zoom out to see what's there. You can hit that one, Aaron. Gives me an idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so,
that tree to the building is 45 feet.
right, okay, so there's a house to the right.
But that's a business,
That is a business.
permanent makeup.
It is, I think it's mixed use because there's a beauty something and then also
And the vet.
That's right next door.
that's next door.
Yeah, there is plenty of parking as well. Okay. All right,
And sir, how long what would you want the end date to be for the season?
When it's cold, I mean, I don't know, probably
I
end
would
of
say
September.
run till December. And that gives him, if at that point in time he decides he wants to proceed. Do more next year, or maybe not at all, then he can come back. Sound reasonable?
So this permit will be to the end of this year,
Be-
calendar year.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then
I'm not gonna be
who
doing
knows,
it,
You may want to modify and say,
Yeah.
gee, I need 2 movie nights.
yeah, okay,
You know,
Yeah,
you don't know.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
may work out very well.
Sure.
You Find out you want to put an addition on the building.
I don't know if we're doing any more additions. I think we covered our water runoff already. We're lucky, we could put the stone in the back because there's no buildings back there for the fire department to go visit.
Okay, let's see.
Are we still going with the special use permit section C? Agricultural,
No, we're not going agricultural. What did you suggest, Aaron? What did you suggest? Article what?
Oh, it's in our provisions, Article 5.
vertical.
Section C5?
No, just 405, Article 5, use regulations, we have a,
Jim, this application was for a agriculture special event.
Yes.
Technically, agriculture special events as defined in the ordinance have to be on a farm.
Right, this is
So
a
we're
farm.
back to the thing that we had that Fontaine case where the court invalidated that provision of our ordinance. There has since been an amendment to the zoning enabling act, which basically brings our provision back to legality. So we can now, the board can now follow that provision. And so the issue is, what is the proposed event? What's it most similar to?
Right,
And
so that is now
suggestion-
valid again.
And I
Thank
guess
you.
the suggestion is most similar to an agriculture special.
Right. So can he go under the agricultural special event?
Well, the board would decide that
Yeah.
even though he's not technically an agriculture special event,
Right.
what the proposed use, is it most similar to an agriculture special event and therefore would be allowed by special use permit?
It's a farmer's market.
That's right.
So we can stick with that then.
Good, good.
Oh, I'm glad they brought that back.
We-
Okay,
We passed the amendment to the zoning enablement.
yeah, good. Okay,
So you should make a vote that the
Yeah.
proposed use is most similar to an agriculture special event, which is allowed by grant of a special use permit.
so could I have a motion that petitioner's request is most comparable to an agro use petition?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Petition will move forward. I just have to ask for butters or interested parties. Sir, you come up, please. Yes, sir. Full name and address for Teresa, please.
Patrick Turner, 113 Evergreen Drive. If you looked at that picture, I am the house directly behind.
Okay, Aaron, can you bring that up?
Yes.
Which one?
Right in the middle. Move the arrow up. Right there. That's me.
Okay, can we get a little closer back that way, Aaron? Can you with that?
Can't really get it closer.
I might be able to with this. There you go. Okay,
So you can see the parking lot is right up against my backyard.
well, I can see the parking lot goes back to the,
Property line.
goes back to the shed.
Right, which is right up against my property line. So if I may.
Yep.
I've been a Portsmouth resident for nearly 60 years. I've been a Portsmouth taxpayer for nearly 40 years. I have owned that house for 30. I don't like the idea of a farmer's market or movies. When DiMatteinos from New York started their business here, there was a forest between us. After a few successful years, they decided an expansion was needed. They came to my back property and said, "We're going to demolish the forest. Don't worry, we'll put up a fence." They didn't. They came to me again and said, "I'm going to plant some trees. Would you like to keep any of these?" I said, "Yeah, there's a beautiful apple tree here and there's a couple others." They cut them down. Following demolition of the forest, people came from over a mile away up Middle Road to cut through my yard to have ice cream. Kids with bikes, couples, women with double strollers. One morning, my wife found a child on her swing set who had come over from Anadiz. The family was nowhere to be found. I thought, if the kid got hurt, I could get sued. So I-
Sir, stop you at that point, because that type of testimony has zero to do with the application. What you're talking about is other people trespassing on your property,
Understood.
okay?
Okay, so let me continue.
Yeah, you're talking about other people, two different things. Anadiz can't control people trespassing on your property. That they can't do,
Understood,
okay?
understood.
If you were concerned about that, then you could have put a fence up.
I did. I put up a
Okay,
180
you
foot
could've
fence
put
on
a
my own,
sign up
on my
your
own property. I did.
So, anything like that, please just, because it's out of their control.
Understood. May I continue? I've worked for many years to develop a beautiful backyard. I'm getting older. I like to sit in the yard, enjoy peace and quiet until the kids show up and start screaming. Some days it lasts all day long. One recent afternoon, it started at 3 o'clock. I finally closed my rear windows at 8 because I could no longer tolerate the screaming in the house. One day I was in my backyard and witnessed an Anadiz patron urinating on the back of the shed just feet from my property. I thought, how many customers do that? I don't take issue with people enjoying their food and ice cream peacefully, but I don't like the noise. I want to sit in my backyard and enjoy my peace and quiet. My concern is noise. Thank you.
Just for the record, you understand that you abut a commercial piece of property.
I do.
You understand everything that could be put in a commercial piece of property. To my earlier discussion about the storage unit, that if somebody wanted to build a small engine repair shop right back there and work from 6 at night or 6 in the morning till 6 at night, they could do that 7 days a week. You understand that?
I do.
Okay,
I also understand that there are restrictions, like the vet behind me has a light that points straight at my backyard. And I know that's not allowed. I've reported it once. And when they fixed it for a while and then they put it back. So what I'm worried about is people not doing what they're supposed to do with their restrictions. My neighbor to my south, who came to the zoning board, he put up a pool. I understand why it was supposed to be there. He was told he could only have a maintenance deck. He doesn't have a maintenance deck. When I reported it, he had to knock it down, so he built it on the other side. He uses it to jump off. So my point is, we put these restrictions in place and people don't follow them.
That's out of this board's hands. You know, it's not passing the buck. It's, we can place conditions on many things. And once it leaves here, it's up to the town departments responsible to manage those,
Okay,
okay?
I'm just tired of being told that they want to be good neighbors and they're not.
Okay. We'll do what we can to mitigate whatever.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you. So, Mr. Di Martino. Question for you. Having looked at that, I noticed that, and I think the vets did it. The vets put up a fence in the back, correct?
Yeah. I don't know if you can zoom in, but, I'm sorry, I know you spoke with my mom years and years ago. I don't know about the fence, but we have 2 rows of Leland cypresses. Leland cypresses go like 12 feet wide. Those are all like 18 feet tall. I'd be glad to put a fence, but you're not gonna see it.
Get a little different angle, because there looks to be a gap.
Or maybe that last one, yeah.
That looks to-
Kids still poke their heads through the trees and tangle like that.
Yeah, and that I could see.
You know, and I remember the forest that used to be there, but I also remember your daughter worked for us and she used to go through that forest to get to work. I mean, I'm sorry that they're going through your yard, but I don't know what else to do.
You know, the abutter has one valid point, that he can control stuff coming through this way,
Sure.
but he can't control things from this side going back. Now, you're asking for a farmer's market and also potentially to have movies there one night. Okay, which means brings more people closer to there, that even if he has a fence, can poke through those trees. Okay? Why not put a fence up along that back?
In front of the trees? I mean, that's
You're not gonna-
certainly a possibility. I know,
There's a gap there I can see, at least in this photo, which I assume is fairly recent. Is that pretty much?
that was taken 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I could absolutely put a fence there. That's about 20 feet onto our property already. I don't know if you could look between the vet and the back of our property.
yeah, I can see.
As someone who's coming to a place and you're worried about the beauty of Portsmouth, I don't know if a bit fence in front of that.
Just trying to rationalize something, whether it's signage, what's that?
Rows in front.
To deter people from venturing back there. What's in the building that's right there?
My lawnmower and broken chairs from the,
So what about restroom facilities for the people attending?
we have one in the cafe side. If that's deemed not to be enough, we have an employee bathroom as well in the back that could be open.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. That would have to be placed back this way somewhere. Because,
Could it be on the side of the shed or no?
no, gotta be more up this way.
Probably keep the people away from the property.
Right, you want people away from, you know,
Sure, yeah.
you put a porta potty back there, you have a movie
You'd ignore
night.
people, absolutely, yeah.
And I'm waiting, it's
Dumpster
like,
right there?
yeah.
Dumpster in the tree.
Yep.
We're next to the dumpster. You know?
Perfect.
If it's gonna be there every week, can I put a piece of wood around it so it doesn't
Oh,
look
yeah.
like a porta potty?
If you want.
We read.
All right. So, condition that there be.
Purpose.
Yeah.
So you can. Not mine, do whatever. you want.
Good point. One restroom is not adequate for.
It's not really.
No. So they had, this would give them at least 2. All right, if you had the movie night, one night a week,
It would be yeah, one night a week.
then that would be what time to what time?
Sunset to, I guess, when a movie's about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Concern
I
with-
won't play the Titanic, I
My
promise.
concern with that is when you talk about noise, smoke and odors is it gets quiet at night and it gets very quiet up there.
Sure.
That area at night. Now you've got a movie and it's not being shown and projected this way, being projected that way.
Yeah, well, actually, if you go back to that, the above picture, what I'd probably imagine doing is bringing essentially towards the back of the building to the street.
Right.
And having the projector be there, with two speaker faces that way.
Where would the screen be?
To be in the back of the building. Screen is the back of the building. Back of the building is the street.
Back of the building's a screen.
And I guess that might be a light issue, so I don't, maybe size of it could be something or. But the sound, I can't imagine, like they would, I don't have like, there would be like a JBL. Like Bluetooth speakers.
Sunset. Right. Yeah. Yeah. When you look on the objectionable features and noise, smoke, odors on the objectionable features. Okay. They
Can I ask a
tried,
question?
yeah.
Jim,
Yeah,
I'm a little confused about this because I have to write a decision. but
right.
I'm having trouble understanding the connection between the movie night and
He's
the
asking,
farmer's market.
right. It's farmer's market and added to is potentially to also have a movie night besides that.
But that's a separate.
Separate.
petition? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know what section.
Well, right, exactly. That's.
I
what we're
think,
kind
I
of
think
answering
initially
back
it was
and
gonna be
forth.
the same night, because I figured if people were there at 6 o'clock, they'd have an ice cream. It got dark shortly, probably a little bit later than that, but I just
Then
figured
you
it'd be
sort
one
of-
night kind of thing.
even if
but it
it's
has to be a
out-
separate
it's all
permit.
The fashion, new wave driving here, basically is what it amounts to.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
there'd be some connection with the farmer's
Right.
market and then.
Yeah.
it Seems like two separate.
Right, right. So,
If it's better, I can do this farmer's market and completely nix that and come back as a separate permit for that. I don't mind doing that.
it'd probably be a wiser thing to do.
Sure.
Because I think you're gonna be posed with a lot of questions regarding that. And, you know, it's gonna be nighttime, dark, traffic, you know, noise is gonna be a big thing, lighting is gonna be a big thing with that.
Yeah, I can understand it. I mean, I was trying to get as much on the table as so you could get a full picture of what I
Okay.
like to see happen, you know?
All right. Is there anything else you wanna add?
I think in the letters, I put my phone number. I've, you know, I understand. I don't want problems with neighbors. I'm glad he's here to talk about it. I hope that if you feel that there's an issue, you have my number, you can call me. I don't want to keep you up at night. And yeah, there's nothing else to add. I'm trying to do something for the community. I don't want to start problems. I'm sorry you felt that way. I can't speak for my mom. She's a particular person.
Karen, is there anybody else on that? No. No, do we have any other butters? No. Okay. I'm gonna propose a condition, actually, I mean, run through the special use criteria. And this is for we're discussing just the farmer's market.
Yes.
Okay? Will it be compatible with, be detrimental to the surrounding area?
No.
Will it be compatible with neighboring land uses?
No. Oh, yeah, well, it is compatible. Yes.
Well, is there commercial around you?
Yes. Yes.
Will it, create a nuisance or hazard in the neighborhood?
No, I hope not.
Adequate protection is afforded surrounding properties by use of open space and planting.
Yes.
Safe vehicular access and adequate parking are provided.
Yes.
Control of noise, smoke, odors, lighting, and any other objectionable features provided.
Yes.
Civil rights of abutters are provided for.
Yes.
Proposed special use will be in conformance with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance down in Portsmouth,
Yes.
and the health, safety, and welfare of the community are protected.
Yes.
All right, if approved, I'm gonna propose a condition that during the farmer's market opening hours, that there be a porta-john be provided, located near the dumpster at all of the events. Have a
Okay.
motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All righty. So,
But, would the duration of the events be a condition?
yep, you could do that.
And then coming back,
Well, the petition says that it's either Monday or Wednesdays, 2 to 6. That's what he's, so
right, but through December?
we can, right, that, yep. Special use permit is through December 31st, 2023.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you want to propose that condition?
Yes, so I'd like to propose a condition that the special use permit be from date of approval through December 2023.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we have two conditions placed on it.
Fence, I know we can really agree on a fence, but is there another way to?
Well, that's also why we gave the 1 year thing, so we can see how it works out.
They're just trying to.
So the fence. I'm sorry. Okay, okay.
No, it's just.
Assuming that after this year, we felt that it,
Permit is only for this year, it's not.
absolutely.
a permanent thing.
Yep.
If it's approved. All right, so Marco Di Martino is before the board for tax assessors map 57 lot 4B. Requesting a special use permit under Article 5, Section C, number 5, as an agricultural event to hold a farmer's market 1 day a week between the hours of 2 and 6 p.m. It's been a condition, if approved, place that special use permit will only be valid until December 31st, 2023. Also, a condition was placed that if approved, a porta-john be placed next to the dumpster at all events, providing additional restroom facilities. So, Mr. Furell?
Mr. Chairman, I recognize that this is a business on a street that's lined with businesses. And therefore, it's a commercial zone or will be a commercial zone. So that drives me to approve the special use permit. You addressed the A through J criteria necessary for a special use permit. We've attached a couple conditions to this, which bound your effort and allow us to assess its impact on the neighborhood going forward. And so I approve the special use permit.
Thank you. Mr. Reposa?
I also vote to approve the special use permit as stated by Ms.
Thank you. Mr. Donovan?
Also gonna vote to approve the special use permit with the conditions stated.
Thank you. And the chairman also votes to approve for reasons previously stated. The abutter, if you have issues, by all means, please let Aaron know. We have kind of some new chiefs in town. Yeah, yeah. See Aaron. Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, I apologize for what happened, but it's just can't control that sometimes. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're all set.
Thank you all.
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. Yes.
What, the advisory opinion? Yeah, well. It's in the application. I don't think.
It's built.
Draw, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I mean.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work. It's looking great.
Okay. I like the privacy.
Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. Yep.
I agree.
Sure.
Kevin, question, the three following American broadband ones, let's see, one for tax assessors map 38-7A, which is, transfer station. 76-5A, which is Prudence Island. And then there's two Prudence Island ones. Can we bundle these together but vote individually? In other words, it's probably gonna be the same testimonial. Thank you. So the board understands this. We're gonna hear the testimony from the applicant on all three, but we do have to vote individually, okay? And basically, Article 7, Section E.
What's the?
Yeah. Oh, I gotta see what that one is. That's Article 4. Let me get to Article 7. Section B.
Oh, it's Article 4 of Section B.
Yeah. That's probably under use.
Oh, yeah, land use.
But he's only gonna, because they need a dimensional variance for that one. Article 5, Section E. There we go, antennas, got it. So, let's see. We have three petitions before us. One is for, tax assessors map 74 lot 5, which is 0109 Beach Road, Prudence Island. Second is, tax assessors map 76 lot 5A for 024 Homestead Avenue, which is the water utility over there. And the last is 0 Headway Street, lot 38-7A, and the purpose of all these to erect antennas over 55, two of them over 55 feet, where what's allowed, it's over the 35-foot height variance. And also a 45-foot antenna, which is 10 feet over the and also that particular one, which is the Beach Road property, requires a 15-foot dimensional variance. All of these are so that they can receive high-speed internet and local TV programming. Tower free fall radius exceeds 125% of its height or 56.25. The radius clears any structure for residential or commercial use on all of them. And yes, sir.
All right,
Art Schenberger, correct?
yes, sir.
Schenberger, raise your right hand. Going to tell the truth. Full name and address for Teresa, please.
Art Schenberger, 8 Scotty Drive, Portsmouth, Rhode Island.
Okay, Mr. Schenberger. Pretty
All
much,
right.
it's the only way you're gonna get broadband to Prudence Island, correct?
Correct. Actually, the, which one are we dealing with or?
Well, let's start with Headley Street. Let's start with the island and go across the bay.
Okay, so Headley Street is, yeah, for a good portion of the residents on Prudence Island, the only way that they're gonna to get internet over there, high-speed internet anyhow. They do have dial-up with Verizon. Can't do much with that, so.
Right,
I should have mentioned, the base of that tower would be about 4'6", 4.5 feet. So it wouldn't be real wide. It's not as big as what you have behind the police station here.
right.
The top would be about 1.5 feet or 1 foot 2 inches.
Right.
So relatively small compared to the bigger cell towers you have in the area. So that's Headley Street.
Is it guide? Does it have guide?
No, I'm sorry. Headley Street is a freestanding tower,
And how tall is it?
100 feet.
This says 90 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 90 feet.
Okay, yeah, which incidentally,
Okay, yeah, because of the 125 feet hitting West Main Road.
Right.
It's, yeah, 90 feet.
right, so just for the record, by the way, this is allowed as a special use permit, an antenna over 35 feet. So that's why it's here for special use permit. Okay.
And do we need something, how close is it to the compactor station?
To the building itself?
Yes.
Relatively close, probably about 6 feet to the edge of the tower.
That would be another issue based on C, right? Because it's supposed to be 125%.
125% of it occupied.
Yeah, so it would be, yeah, next to the,
Commercial industrial occupancy.
Right.
People work there. Yeah, they work there. I would assume it's considered occupancy. I want it to fall on.
So is it gonna be on? I thought it was gonna be up by the,
no, Brian Woodhead picked the spot, and that's where he kind of picked was right there between the shed and adjacent to a shed and to the building. It is a steel building, but red iron, so this tower being a smaller tower doesn't have the weight that the other towers would have, so I don't think it would go into the building up through that red iron for sure. And to put in perspective, the tower behind the police station is probably 90% distance from hitting that residential apartment building behind it to the north of it.
this is being located on.
I'm not saying it should, I'm just saying, do we need to make a variance on that?
Tower's not on, at the compactor. It comes close, but that's the 125% free fall radius. Doesn't mean the tower's gonna hit. You have 125%. 100% would mean it would hit it. Towers,
Right.
if I'm looking to, oh no, okay, so the tower
The tower
is,
not 125
why did
feet away from
Brian
the
pick
building.
that spot? That, I hate to say, I probably have an issue with. Let me ask you a question. Could that tower be moved? Would it work if it was closer to, say, Public Works building?
It would have to be a lot taller.
What's that?
It would have to be a lot taller.
What about if it was up near the fire and police department? Because that's going up the hill more.
Yeah, same thing, because you have a ridge going between East Main Road and West Main Road where it would block line of sight to Prudence Island without going taller.
I'd just like to mention that they do have a license agreement with the town for Headley Street.
Right,
So it was at the discretion of the DPW director.
right. But I guess, the concern is when I look at that. And I don't have a free fall radius drawn around that antenna. But you got west, what?
Technically, town's exempt from zoning board.
Concern is West Main Road.
I mean, and the town
Concern is
granted a
more
license,
West Main Road.
town granted a license agreement to put this on the town property,
Yeah,
so,
the town could be exempt,
and the town's exempt from the zoning ordinance.
right?
Scare me, that just might be a fact.
It's probably.
Yeah, so why are we here?
It's far enough away from West Bank Road.
Well, there's two others.
Right, so really, by right, we don't need to hear this one.
Kind of like an advisory.
Well, the advisory would be to move it elsewhere, not so it could fall.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be in Heritage Park. I mean, that would be,
That would be ideal.
be ideal, yeah. I mean,
Kevin, I defer to you. I mean, if we don't need to. I'll go over to the other two, because they're not on town property, are they?
No, I mean, if this one, the town had to grant a license agreement, that
Right.
I thought this was the location where it was needed, and it came to the town.
Yeah, there's no fee associated with this application for the towns. It was just because it was another one. We decided to add it on, but if you don't want to hear it, you don't. need
I
to
don't
hear it.
think we need to hear it.
Okay,
I really don't.
sure.
Because, I mean, if I was to do due diligence, I would have to look at that 125%, and I'd be concerned about West Main Road, but if we're exempt, we're exempt.
That's on town property, and the town granted a
Town's
license.
exempt. I like that. It's like the
Fair enough.
federal government. We don't need a.
We don't have jurisdiction.
All right, so that being said, then the side that the petition for 0 Headley Street, tax assessors map 38 lot 7A is not required. as this is town of Portsmouth's property and town of Portsmouth has licensing, therefore they are exempt. So we'll go over to the other two, which are now on Prudence Island. So let's go to Homestead first.
Very good. And yeah, I just, for one quick second, I just emailed you to your personal email photo.
I got it.
Okay, for,
Wait, you email tonight?
yeah, just right now. It's on it for McKay for Beach Road.
If I can bring that up, I don't know if I can.
Okay, so the next one is Prudence Island Water District. They're requesting a tower so that they can get internet. I guess they got a fairly large grant from the state. They need to finally clean up that water over there and give them some decent drinking water. They've had issues for quite a while, as you guys probably know. So I guess with the internet, they can monitor, and they're building a whole brand new facility there.
Right.
That tower is a guide tower, so it is about less than a foot wide, straight up, 90 feet. Probably won't see it from anywhere because it's a very treed in area. It'll just rise, 10 feet or so above the tree line. And that is, you have to be 200 feet for FAA, so, that's nothing there that would, I don't think, be a problem. They have 5.5 acres, so the 125%, they've got plenty of room there. Kind of in the middle of the property.
Okay. And all of these have to run by line of sight, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so then that's that one. And according to this, the only thing in the area is a pump house and a shed within that.
Yeah, they have like a little pumping station or shed that they said it's gonna be coming down. No one's in the shed. I think it's, like I said, I think a pumping station or something in there, or so nobody working in there. At least not on a full-time basis.
Okay, and the last one, Beach Road.
The last one, Beach Road, that one's needs a variance as far as the setback. However, that's only going up to 45 feet, so 10 feet higher than what you normally allow. The setback, I did take a picture. I don't know if you're able to get
Yeah,
it.
we've got it right here.
Yeah, okay, so if there's a picture there, you can see it. I took a picture today when I was out there of the driveway goes about 100 feet past where the property line would be or should be on paper, but the new driveway, they've done quite a bit of work out there. And so I think we need about 15 more feet, but he's got plenty of room there. The property next to his to the south is town property. It's supposed to be a road. It's not a road. The road actually goes through Rhode Island State property, so it's
Prudence Island.
it's Prudence.
I mean, I don't have any questions on any of these. I mean, I understand. What do they do for internet now over there?
Verizon has 200 lines of dial-up that they sell phone services, about 400 houses over there, so 200 of them can get their dial-up service. It's
Other than hotspot through.
yeah, and that some places that works, some it doesn't. This particular instance, Papa Squash kind of blocks his view from our tower in Bristol. The trees there, and we could have put a tripod on his roof. Probably got it. However, this gentleman has spent a fortune trying to hurricane-proof this house. He lifted up on blocks and would prefer to have a tower for his TV antenna and for his internet, so that there's nothing on the roof that can be ripped off in case of a hurricane. So he's done quite a bit of mitigation. He's moved the house back from the front from the shoreline, and so yeah, that's.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Not for me.
Oh, and again, that one, I guess, is 17 inches wide.
Right.
That's a freestanding tower as well, so no,
Okay,
no.
That's
guy
the one
wires.
that requires a 15-foot dimensional variance along with the special use permit. And that's because it abuts that road,
the road that's supposed to be there, that's
paper road on the state property.
pretty much.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Aaron, oh, there's no butters here. Do we have anybody online?
They don't have internet. then get on here. They're waiting for the dial.
That's good. Okay, so American Broadband is before the board for two petitions, tax assessors map 76 lot 5A, where they're seeking a special use permit to put in a 90-foot antenna pursuant to Article 7, Section E. And also on tax assessors map 74 lot 5, where they're requesting a 45-foot antenna, which is 10 over, but that lot also needs a 15-foot side yard variance because it abuts a paper road that goes through a piece of state land, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
do we need to go through the
we can and I shall. So the desired use will not be detrimental to the surrounding area.
I'm sorry.
Said the desired use would not be detrimental to the surrounding area? No. Be compatible with neighboring land uses?
Yep.
Won't create a nuisance or hazard in the neighborhood. Adequate protection is afforded to surrounding property by the use of open space and planting.
Yep.
Safe vehicular access and adequate parking are provided.
Oh, yeah.
Control of noise, smoke, odors, lighting, any other objectionable features is provided. Sole rights of the abutters are provided for.
Yep.
The proposed special use will be in conformance with the purpose and intent, comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance of the town of Portsmouth, and the health, safety, and welfare of the community are protected.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Furrow.
Mr. Chairman, I vote, I'm gonna vote on each one of these separately.
Well, you can vote if you like special use criteria. If you agree it meets it, you can say it's for both petitions.
Very good, very good. So for both petitions, the applicant has confirmed that this effort complies with the special use permit criteria A through J. And I vote to approve special use permits for both applications. On the assessor's map 74 lot 5 application, there's also a 15-foot setback variance being requested. I vote to approve that because even though we are requesting a 15-foot variance, the property abuts a paper road, which gives us more than 15 feet of latitude, and this won't be an issue. And to deny either application would amount to more than a mere inconvenience for the people who live on Prudence Island. And I vote to approve them both.
Thank you, Mr. Reposa.
I also vote to approve both special use and dimensional variance
For both petitions.
for both petitions.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan,
I also vote to approve of the special use for the first petition and a special use and dimensional variance for the second petition for the reasons stated by Mr. Furrow.
thank you. The chairman also votes to approve the special use permits for both lots and also the 15-foot dimensional variance for map 74 lot 5 for reasons previously stated by Mr. Furrow. You're all set.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?